Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. Hey, I'm your host, Brian Kelly, and we have a phenomenal guest expert in line for you tonight. I cannot wait. We're going to get our geek on, I have a feeling, because this gentleman is very well versed in the internet marketing space in very many different avenues. Very talented individual. Cannot wait to introduce him to you. But first, before we do that, the Mind Body Business Show. Quick description. What is that all about? Well, in my 54 years on this earth now, I've actually come across quite a large number of very successful entrepreneurs. And what I've found over that time is, I start learning what makes them so successful, and I tune in and find out that over time there are actual patterns that each one has that's similar to the other of successful entrepreneurs. And one of those is that they have a rock solid mindset, and that's where mind comes from in the show's title. So mindset, and we're talking about a deep-rooted positive and champion mindset, and that's usually rooted from a science known as neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP for short. It's a science of excellence, a science of success that helps you from a subconscious level to become more successful, more powerful, more positive, more serving of others and yourself. It's an amazing thing. So we have had guests on the show where we've discussed specific things with neuro-linguistic programming and positive mindset in general. And then there's body. What is that all about? Well, I noticed that these successful entrepreneurs really took the time to take care of their body inside and out, meaning nutrition. What kind of nutrition, what are you feeding your body? What is powering and fueling yourself? And then they also tend to love exercising and staying in shape. And it's like this. I always say the mind and body are a team, and more importantly, the mind and body are your team. And it's like this. If you have a team that's playing, let's say it's a group of basketball players, there's 5 guys on the court at any one time, and when they're playing basketball, 5 of them need to be operating at a peak level performance for the team to be operating at a high level. And so if one player decides maybe he's going to take the off season off and not continue with his conditioning, and then the season hits and he's a starter and he goes out on the floor with the team and he's not operating at peak level of performance, what happens to the entire team as a whole? Well, you guessed it, the entire team suffers just because of one teammate that did not operate at a peak level performance, that did not prepare. And so mind and body, if you don't have both operating at peak levels, well then the team, i.e. you, will not be operating at that high level. And then the third area that I noticed patterns were that these entrepreneurs, these successful people, had mastered the key areas of business, and that would be sales, marketing, scaling, team building. And they became very good in each of those areas. And they knew if they didn't have that talent, how to delegate. And so the wonderful thing was finding out that these 3 were the key elements. It's like a tripod. You have a tripod that's holding up, say, a camera, and a tripod has 3 legs. Well, what happens if you were to kick one of those legs away? Yeah, the whole thing would come tumbling down, wouldn't it? The same thing with mind, body, business. If you're not at least pursuing the mastery of all 3 key areas, then you are not, in my definition, operating at a peak level of performance. And for us to get the most out of life, isn't that a wonderful thing to do, is to always yearn for operating at a peak level of performance, not only for business but also for our personal lives, so we get the most out of our life while we have this time on this wonderful earth. And that's what the Mind Body Business Show is all about. And that reminds me of a time quite some time ago when I was invited to go back east to meet with a CEO of a company, multimillionaire, to discuss a potential deal between he and I, his company and myself. And I just remember I was there in his office for 2 full days. And it was a very, very large office, corner office, of course, owner of the company. And I just remember at one point I'm sitting on his couch in his office, and he's standing facing me and talking to me. And he said, Brian, if people only knew, if they just knew, if they just did this one thing, if they just did this one thing, they'd all be rich. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. What is it? And so he kind of coyly turned away, walked to the back wall behind him, and there was a floor-to-ceiling cabinet, a large cabinet, double doors. He grabbed both handles, opened up the doors, and revealed what looks very similar to what you see behind me, which was shelf after shelf after shelf of books. And these weren't just any books. These were personal development books, self-help, business books, fitness books. Everything that falls in the category of mind, body, business was on this gentleman's shelves, and he was supremely successful financially. And I made a huge mistake at that moment because I made the decision. I didn't say this out loud, but internally I was like, you're kidding me, right? That's it? Reading books is the key to success? No way. If that were the case, wouldn't everybody be doing it? That was my thinking at that time. I literally did not read a single book for years. Then, thankfully, I met a person who would then become my mentor. And this gentleman I worked with for several years, spoke from stage at his events, helped train his students, and spent a lot of time with them. And I remember at one point he's walking around in his house and he's wearing headphones. And I said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He says, "Oh yeah, I'm listening to a book." I say, "Wait, what? You're listening to a book?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "So tell me about that. That sounds very interesting to me." So long story short, he was listening to books on an app called Audible through Amazon. And so I said, I'm going to give this a whirl. And I started listening. I said, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world. I loved listening to books far more than visually reading across the page with my eyeballs, because I would get fatigued. My eyes would get fatigued. I would get drowsy. I couldn't read past 5-10 pages before I can't do this anymore. And now I'm listening. I'm like, this is awesome. And I kept listening and listening and listening, and have since voraciously read many, many, many books in those areas that I was recommended to read way back when, many years ago. Thankfully, because that has been a game changer. And the beautiful thing with Audible is as you're listening, you can literally tap the screen and create a bookmark. So if you're listening and there was a something that was of interest or something you wanted to go back and revisit, then you could just tap the screen and instantly it would store that location on the phone. And then later I found you can do the same. You can go back and listen to those bookmarks over your computer if you want to, on the web. You can go back, log into your account, bring up that book, go to that bookmark, and listen from that moment. So I thought, this is brilliant. This is genius. Now I don't have to listen to an entire book again when I want to read something a second time. I can just go to my bookmarks. I don't need to spend the multiple hours going through an entire book to get to what I call the meat. And so tonight what I want to do is share one of those with you in a segment that I appropriately named Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yeah, there you see it to my side. And by the way, for those of you listening now, or even watching and listening, either live or later in the recording, please just take notes. Stay with us. You're going to be given various resources to check out after the show is over. So right now, just take out a notebook or a piece of paper and a pen. If you're on a computer, go ahead and pull up a notepad or Microsoft Word or your editor of choice. But stick with us and take notes. This is at reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Take that down as a note, because what it is it's a website that I literally built with you in mind. You, the entrepreneur. You, the person that's looking to take it to the next level. You, the person that is becoming an entrepreneur and wanting to learn what it takes, what you need to learn and read to help you to be a successful entrepreneur. And so what I did was, over time, I compiled a list of books that I have read. And again, this is not every book that I've ever read. or listened to. These are books that had an impact positively on my life, either business-wise or personal or both. And so you can see those scrolling up. There's over 40 on this site, and you can pick and choose. So what I did is I put these in a spot so that you would not have to guess. You know, at least these were vetted by one person. Oftentimes we're left to guess and just go and look blindly for business-related books. Well, now you can come and say, well, at least one person said these had a positive effect on his growth and life. And so that's why I put it together, just so you could have a go-to place to check it out. And I'm always open to recommendations if you have a great one as well, so reach out. What I wanted to do is take one of those books that I've been listening to and actually showcase one of those bookmarks. And that book for tonight is Think and Grow Rich. Many of you have heard of it, by Napoleon Hill. If you have not read it, read it. Read it. What I'm going to do is play back a 1 minute or so segment. And again, get out your pen and paper or your notepad, a notebook, or open up Microsoft Word, whatever your choice is. Take down notes. I'm going to play this back. Listen closely. This is Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. It's going to be talking about faith, desire, and imagination. So everything about the mind. So listen close. Here we go.
I imagine some listeners will question the statement that a mere intangible desire can be converted into its physical equivalent. Doubtless some will say, you cannot convert nothing into something. The answer is in the story of United States Steel. That giant organization was created in the mind of one man. The plan by which the organization was provided with the steel mills that gave it financial stability was created in the mind of the same man. His faith, his desire, his imagination, his persistence were the real ingredients that went into United States Steel. The steel mills and mechanical equipment acquired by the corporation after it had been brought into legal existence were incidental. But careful analysis will disclose the fact that the appraised value of the properties acquired by the corporation increased in value by an estimated $600 million by the mere transaction which consolidated them under one management. In other words, Charles M. Schwab's idea, plus the faith with which he conveyed it to the minds of J.P. Morgan and the others, was marketed for a profit of approximately $600 million. Not an insignificant sum for a single idea.
So there you have proof positive that from one's mind, amazing things can happen. And what I want to implore upon you is from your mind, amazing things can happen. Get in the habit of reading and reading books like this. This would be a great one to start with, because mindset is really the foundation from which everything we have today is built. It is all on you. It is no one else's fault if you are struggling. I know that's kind of like in your face, but that's the truth. The only person that is responsible for your current situation in life is you. But that's the good news, isn't it? Because you are in control of your own life. Now you know that you are at cause, that you can take the appropriate actions to right that ship and set it off in the direction that you want it to go into. And we're not going to go much deeper into mindset right at this moment, because it's time to bring on our star of the show, Mr. Greg Goshorn, because this man is going to rock your world. Get ready. It is now time for the special guest expert spotlight.
It's time for the guest expert spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Greg Goshorn. Greg, how are you doing tonight, my buddy?
Oh, we are great. Thank you so much for having me. We are proud and excited and blessed to be here.
Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking out the time out of your busy schedule. I know that you have a thriving business, and being an entrepreneur, understand there's no off switch usually. Something's always going on, so I appreciate that always. So I wanted to do a quick introduction of you, Greg, from the bio you provided. I'm pretty transparent with everything on the show. And then we'll jump into the cool Q&A where people are going to just love and lavish in your knowledge. Sound cool?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So Greg Goshorn established G2 Internet Solutions in 2013 after 20 years in the IT and internet space. I got to tell you right now, when I read that the first time and knew that, IT, information technology, that is some serious stuff. That means this guy knows it. 20 years, he knows his stuff. And he's been around and he's seen the old days versus today. So I can't wait to dig into that wonderful brain of his. His agency has grown and worked with small businesses and Fortune 500 companies. Greg's expertise in the digital marketing with specialization in traffic, videos and reputation marketing, conversion, and business consulting. That's a lot of expertise, and there's a reason why. This guy has a large brain. I'm not just saying physically. You see he's got a large noggin there, but he's got a lot of knowledge inside. And big is beautiful, isn't it? Greg's determination, energy, and his passion for helping businesses continue to drive the growth behind G2 Internet Solutions and online local video. And just before I go in and ask him his first question, I want to remind everybody who's watching right now that you can win a five-night vacation stay at a 5-star Mexican resort. And so stay on till the very end, and that's when we will give you the information on how you can enter to win. And this is not, this is a true high-quality vacation stay. I know someone personally who has been on this, and they reported, wow, there was no timeshare, there was nothing, no pitch, nothing. Just come, enjoy, and hopefully spread the word about that particular location. You really want to stick on for that one. But really, you want to be here for Greg because this guy's amazing. So Greg, that was a great intro about yourself that you wrote. I'm not giving myself credit for that. And that tells us a lot about the mechanics of what you've done in your past and what you're doing now from a high level. And I was just curious if you wouldn't mind if we dig a little deeper and get to know you at a deeper level right off the bat. And that is, as an entrepreneur, we're faced with so many things, struggles with victories, and it can be quite a roller coaster ride. And to do that requires intense and consistent motivation. And I'm talking about toward motivation, forward motivation. So like when you wake up and your feet hit the ground, what kind of things are going through your mind as you're clearing the cobwebs from the night's sleep to get you going and go at this yet another day?
All right. Well, a big driver for me is helping people, learning, growing. There's some fundamentals that I use in the morning as far as a routine and a planner. But the excitement of a dynamic industry that we work in, I end up, like you said, have been around a little while, and so we're learning new techniques for the timeless strategies, because the marketing stuff is got some really proven things, but the tactical ways, the new techniques change over time.
And it's a lot about to keep that motivation going, to go even a little deeper, is it takes a certain kind of mindset to become successful, period. I mean, it just does. It's something that we must maintain a positive, productive, and successful mindset as much as possible during all times. We're human, and things happen that will knock us back for a moment, but to be aware of it and to right the ship and get back into that positive frame. When it comes to doing that and maintaining it, is there anything you do specifically that helps you to maintain that on a regular basis, to sustain it?
Indeed, I do, and I love the way you worded that, because for sure things are going to happen, right? So we try to do some of the best ways to set that plan from the very beginning, right? So I got a lot of the basics that people do. We've got the board on the wall, right? I've got a morning routine where I, don't touch the phone, where I focus on myself, or maybe do some exercise. And then I spend time, I have a really great, daily planner where I'm thinking about the day, how I want to come across to people, some of my goals, some of the things I need to do. Um, I do things like watch some cool, videos, maybe some Jim Rohn or some Les Brown, if I want to get going. And then through the day, I'll actually use my phone. I'll set reminders to take a pause, right? To release tension and to set intention. So those are some of the ways that I consciously try to do that every day to stay on track and to stay positive.
And I really, really, really hope everyone's taking notes right now. It may not have seemed all that incredible and life-changing, but what Greg just described was the first two, partially the third, words and names of this very show. He talked about mind and getting his mindset. He's talking about listening to Jim Rohn and Les Brown. I mean, those are some pretty amazing people to listen to keep going. Oh my goodness, talk about motivation. And he talked about really discipline, and that's more on the business side, also the mindset side, where he actually sets reminders for himself. I love that. It's a great idea. It's like, hey, set reminders, remind me to stop, jump back, regroup, re-energize, because yeah, you get stuck, especially when you're doing things on the computer. I'm on the computer quite a lot as well. I've done that quite a bit over my days too, and you could get in a funk and be at it for 3 or 4 hours and not even realize it. So that's a great idea. And the mindset, you have it, you've set it, you're setting yourself up not only in the beginning of the day but throughout the day. I like that you said that as well. So
thank you.
I hope everyone is taking voracious notes right now. I mean, take notes of every word that this gentleman says tonight. Okay, do that now. All right. Now, when I opened the show, of course, we talked about reading, the importance of it, and I was just curious, Greg, if maybe you would consider yourself to also be an avid reader, and if so, do you have a book you're reading at the moment, or maybe a favorite book that you have?
Absolutely, a reader and a listener, like yourself. I'm an Audible fan, man.
Yes.
And so right now I got quite a few in the mix, but the one I'm re-listening to is High Performance Habits. Brendon Burchard goes along with the planner, right? And so that kind of jives together, and I like that, and solid things. And I do love the bookmarking, right? Because there's so many nuggets that you want to go back to. So I use that as a way to go back and find the right things. And then I love paper books too. They're great. The one I'm reading right now is called Wishman, and it's actually a signed copy from Frank Shankwitz, who did the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And it's his story. And by the way, the movie is coming out this year.
Yeah, that's an amazing guy. I've met him in person as well. The big old cowboy hat and the great story as a CHP, motorcycle guy. Just almost, he had a brush with death. I mean, amazing story. This guy, and what he does is phenomenal. Phenomenal what he does. Oh, he just gave me chills thinking about that man. So, Wish Man. I wrote those down. High Performance Habits by Burchard. Good, and I hope everyone else is writing these down. I haven't read every book that's out there, and when I hear from another successful entrepreneur like Greg, who's reading one, see, this is one of the keys to succeeding, is find someone like Greg who's successful, see what they do habitually on a daily basis, see what they're reading, and all you have to do is simply model it. In fact, there was a Facebook message from Greg to me earlier today, I believe, where he said he modeled something. I mean, he's got the language down. He's done the work. You can tell by listening to him, by reading what he writes, that this man is a product of the product. He doesn't just walk the walk, he also talks the talk. Or is it the other way around? He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. Yeah, that's it.
There we go. Right. Thank you.
Wow, Brian, come on now. All right, good. So another thing I did hear you say when you got up, or part of your daily ritual, was getting some exercise. And there we are with the body again. So, many people will put that off until like right about now after New Year's, right? Everyone made that New Year's resolution. Now the gyms are absolutely packed with people. The sad thing is, in about a month maybe 2, it's going to be back to normal, which is sad. People just fall back off the wagon. This is hard. But for you, how important is physical fitness to you, your business, and your personal life? Do you make it a priority? How often? You know, how does it grade in your life?
Well, it's surely important, and absolutely, you know, focus in the new year, but always in general. We have relocated, and so now we have some property and lots of chores. So we kind of get some country CrossFit, I call it, because you never know if you're going to be, you know, mowing, hoeing, doing something. And so we try to get out every day. One new thing in the mix is called a Christmas puppy dog. So I've got lots of built-in breaks and a couple of long walks every day. So I'm going to be getting my walking in for sure. And then once the snow melts, lots of good physical labor.
I love it. Country CrossFit, man. That's gotta that's gonna sweep the nation. You gotta come up with a comprehensive CrossFit program. That is so cool. I can see everyone showing up in shorts and cowboy hats with boots. That would be awesome.
Country Absolutely, it's fun, man. It's cool.
That is, that's you should coin that phrase. Seriously, trademark.
Yeah.
Oh man, hey, you know, shifting over to business, the business side. So we've covered a little bit of mind, a little bit of body, and then we're just gonna have a fun time and discuss entrepreneurship in general. Is, you know, one of the things I've always been curious about is, you know, what would you call the lifeblood of any business? And that's like an open-ended question that's not fair to ask, and it's really marketing. You know, the lifeblood of any successful business is their ability to effectively market, because without that, who's going to see your product? Who's going to know you exist? Who's going to buy your product? And so I'm always curious how the successful ones, what are the specific things, maybe one, don't have to go through all of them, maybe pick out one form of successful marketing you either are doing now or have done in the past that worked really well. How do you, Greg, go about marketing your business, and what's been your most successful form of marketing to date?
Okay, awesome. Well, that's right in my wheelhouse and my expertise, and so we do a lot of digital marketing. We help others, and that's our primary way that we do it ourselves. Of course, there's no substitute for face-to-face, you know, and networking, and the word of mouth. And so one of the big things that we do is kind of the online word of mouth, which has a lot to do with online reputation, because we think that's a fundamental thing in the marketplace today, married with videos. And so we think that it kind of secures your brand, because you can do a lot of things out there in online, you know, or offline with print or mailings, but ultimately it's to get the attention of people. And one of the first things people do when you get their attention is to go check you out online. So we think once you get their attention, they're going to look you up. So you better look good when they go out there and find you. So that's been probably one of our strengths.
So that is so true. So you basically are establishing an online platform for your clients in various avenues, correct? Yeah. So these things are kind of ubiquitous. So, you know, we kind of walk the walk, drink our own Kool-Aid. So we do, you know, the ads, the reputation, and the videos. Yeah. Ah, okay. So again, that's G2 Internet Solutions. If you want to look up Greg, you know, take his advice and look him up. Definitely do that. And it's interesting you said that, because I do that all the time. Anytime I get a recommendation from a friend, I get them all the time, which you probably do too. Hey, check this one out, Greg. What do you think of this? And it's usually affiliate-based or network marketing or something to that effect. And if it even piques my interest enough to spend time with it, I will go research the founders. You know, I'll go to Facebook and see what is their attitude like. what is their follower base? If they're in digital marketing, they better have a pretty darn good following base. Otherwise, they're not walking the walk. And stuff like that, just to really dig them up. And it could be that they're more fluent in LinkedIn and have a bigger following base there than, say, something like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. But I do the research to make sure, like, is this somebody I want to spend my time and or money with? And that's a great, actually, it was a tip you just gave, even though you weren't trying to give a tip. But that's exactly what you prepare them for, is you prepare your clients that when someone goes to search for them, that they're going to look the right way. They're going to come off as professional. They're going to come off as knowing what they're doing, that they're an authority in their respective area. So,
indeed.
Very cool, very cool. We need more people like you, more companies like you, because that's not easy to do on one's own unless they have employee base that knows what they're doing as well. So it's a great service you provide. You know, IT, you were in IT, right? You started in IT, so I'm guessing that was through working for somebody else through another company. Is that true? Were you working for another company, or were you on your own then?
Indeed, yeah. So I got what they called an MIS degree. It was new back in the day. I've worked for big companies, small companies, but to be honest, for most of the time of the last few decades, I have had the luxury of working for myself.
That's sweet.
We've had some stints with some Fortune 500s and the big kind of bureaucracies, the places that move slow. I like a more dynamic environment. I always thought that the people that I like to work with, the clients I could help the most, were people that could, make a decision and write a check and let's get going.
Yes, decision makers. You gotta love those, right?
Yeah.
So you've experienced a lot from both sides of the fence. You've been through the career path, working for companies and corporate life, and through entrepreneur life. And if you had a chance to start all over again, is there anything you would do differently?
Wow. Yeah, geez. Yeah, maybe more focus, a little earlier. Maybe pick at a niche. One of the beauties of my field is it's kind of wide. Probably would have pick a focus and stayed on something a little longer, and I may have probably, looking backwards, have maybe done something to build more residual income, even sticking with some of the MLMs I've been in. That's maybe in my future.
And that's the beautiful thing, we always still do have our future, and that's cool. None of us know how long we have left on this planet, and we always have the future, though. It's right there in front of us, every second in front of us right now, and that's the beautiful thing. I've been asked a similar question. I'm 54, so I think that's beyond middle age. I don't even know what the definition. I don't care.
No way. You're young.
I don't care. I don't care what the definition is. I just know how I feel, the way I think, and that is there's so much more that life has to offer. Nowhere near finished with this race, and I'm looking forward to every day the future holds. With really, no kidding, sincere excitement. I can't wait. I can't wait to see. And again, I'm helping to drive where that future is going, and I'm excited because I know that I can drive this ship and do everything I can. And you're just talking about it out loud about, hey, maybe that's where I'll end up. So, you knew that you want to go down those paths, and you now probably will. You probably
always can, any day.
Yeah. So you can set up some more residual revenue streams. Get some help like you and I have both been doing through an apprentice program. And that helps incredibly to get others to help you out in working in the business so you can work on the business.
I would definitely do that sooner. Hire, get help.
Yes, ditto. Yes, I'm right there with you, my brother. I mean, my goodness, the amount of time I spent as a solopreneur is like, wow.
Right.
That would have been better with help. Absolutely. Yes. So you've been through the career, and then you become an entrepreneur, and you and I know entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I mean, you have to be cut. I think you have to be cut from a different cloth a little bit, maybe a lot, because it's not for. I don't want to put anybody off, but it's not for everybody, and it takes a lot of drive. It takes a lot of thick skin. It takes a lot of determination. It takes being able to get rid of and put aside your ego, which many people would think is just the opposite with entrepreneurs. But to become successful, you truly need to put that aside. And along with that comes things that you don't like happening, or things that you must sacrifice in order to become successful. And so every one of us have done it. What kind of sacrifices have you, Greg, made that has helped you to become a successful entrepreneur?
Wow, great question. Great question. It is an absolute mindset, personality type. I don't know, probably time. It takes time away, from family, from friends, from whatever, to be the one that work 65 plus hours so I don't have to work 40. And it's true, but the money to do it on your own is different too. When you show up and get a check, a lot of stuff is covered by the company. Some of the sacrifice doing it on your own is reinvesting in yourself and in your organization and in your business. So we spend time on training, you spend time on tools. I invest in mentors, and so I'd say, time and money is probably some of the biggest sacrifices in my mind.
Thank you so much for saying that you invested in mentors, because that has got to be, aside from getting help, there are many different facets that help one become successful, but you just hit on probably one of the more important ones, and that is, not just going after a mentor and expecting to get help for nothing, is investing in one. And when you've done that, you will get more focused attention from that mentor or coach, who will, and first you want to vet that mentor. Maybe go to Greg and say, who is your mentor? I want to learn from the same one because you're successful. I want to do the same. I have a mentor to this day, the same guy that was on the headset. I stay in touch with him. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love what, staying with, and it doesn't mean you have to stick with just one mentor. I've gone from mentor to mentor to mentor, and they're all now my very personal friends, and I love them to death. And I gave the money, I invested my money, and I had zero regrets in doing it, and would do it again. It's not about the money, it's about the investment. It's having skin in the game. And yeah, and I've done it many times where I was scraping the barrel financially, and I was like, the only way to get out is to get help. So, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, but Brian, I don't have the money. Well, that's the very reason you need to find a mentor. We've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, right, Greg?
Well, so not only is the mentor, but also the associations, because then you're also kind of often in a group or with the other people that they're helping.
Yes.
And so you're getting some one-on-one help, but there's also the associations, and so the kind of the whole ocean lifts up, and you get open and exposed to people that are kind of going the same way and trying to do the same thing as you are. And what's great is not everybody does the same thing, so you can actually help each other.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Yeah, and not just those that are also calling that person mentor, but that mentor's sphere of influence and friends. You then get sometimes access to their friends, because the more time you spend with them, the odds are they're going to be meeting with other people of equal or even higher caliber than themselves.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
I knew we'd get along, man. We're both like geeks to the core, so this is working out great.
Thank you. I love this. I love it. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, I am enjoying the bejeebers out of this, if that's even a word. Sweet. So okay, again, you've done both sides: corporate, entrepreneur, currently entrepreneur, and I'm sure you're saying thankfully entrepreneur. And I'm not in any way looking down on anyone that works for corporate. God bless you. God bless you. If that's what you like doing, it's the majority of people work for someone else. The majority. So that means that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it at all. It's just if you want to have a life of, I guess, more freedom, meaning you can call your own shots versus, freedom is a interesting word, isn't it, Greg? Because, you could be shackled because of your entrepreneurship, but at least you are calling the shots. So before I go too far on this, because I might be feeding you ideas, what so far has been your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
Well, you took my answer, but I had it written down already, so I'm going to share it. And it has to do kind of with what you said. It is picking, your own hours, and your own tasks. But you be your own boss, right? Well, to be frank, this is a double-edged sword, right?
Yes.
Because the truth is, all your clients, all my clients, all my partners, all my associates are essentially my boss. I answer to them. I serve them, and so I don't have one boss. I have a bunch of people that I serve, and so I don't always really have a ton of control over the hours and the tasks that people think you do.
That's a really cool way of framing that. Not one boss, but many. And there are still distinct differences because they're not telling you exactly how to do the job and when to do the job. You just have a deadline most often. I will get this job done by this date. And then how you go about achieving the result is entirely, in this case, on you if you're an entrepreneur, versus if you're working for a corporation. They might tell you every single step that you shall follow. This is the process. Check this box. Move to the next one. And so you're basically a robot that has a human brain in those cases. I've actually encountered and experienced those firsthand as a corporate employee myself. So I understand that. Right. So there's also a distinct difference in that when you said you're trading one boss for many, and it's in a whole different light of what kind of boss they are. They're basically, for you, your promotion or your attaboy or your certificate of achievement is really them paying you now, right? And
Indeed.
And when you get that payment and you say, good, that means I did a good job and they were satisfied. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't pay. So, yeah, that was a cool insight, though. Not one boss, but many, and that's so true. The thing is, though, you're working in the confines of your own schedule, and you can pre-frame those, meaning let them know these are the guidelines under which I work. If you're cool with that, we'll go forward, right?
That's really the testament to it. So
yeah,
that's the double-edged side, right? So
right.
You have some, but you also can solve it in the time and the manner that suits you.
Yes,
exactly.
And that's what I call, in one word, liberation.
I love it.
A past guest, Brigitte Overly, if she's watching, she called it, and she did this. She goes, freedom!
Yeah.
That was her favorite aspect. I said, yeah, that in one word, that was it. Yes. And so you've been doing this for quite some time now as an entrepreneur, right?
Indeed. Thank you.
So, it's one thing to have short-term success, and a lot of people can do that. I remember many times in network marketing, you would get that one person that was very good at recruiting, bringing on new members into the business, and because they would do that because they would earn a commission just for signing other people up to do the same thing. And the thing is, I worked with some that's all they did, and they didn't sell any product, so they would make a really good income for a short spurt. But then because they didn't spend the time to help those people they brought in, then the organization would slowly crumble, and then their income go down, and now they got to go back into full-blown recruitment mode because that's all they know. So that is not, in my opinion, a recipe for long-term success. How have you, because you've done it, what is the best way that you have found, Greg, to achieve long-term success?
Ooh, well... That's a good one. Showing up and doing it and learning. So I don't know, what do you call that? You call it discipline, dedication, kind of probably the first things that come to mind. not giving up, right? Sticking to it. So those are probably the big things for the success. Making sales, keeping the machine going, right? Are probably the biggest things. And to speak to it, getting ongoing contracts, getting things that are maybe residual or monthlies is a big one. And looking backwards and forwards, I like Warren Buffett's quote, like, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you're going to work until you die. And so that's what that stuff's got me here. But I also looking forward to to building some regular cash flow.
That's fantastic. And you said so many great things. Show up. I talk about that myself, particularly in like if you're trying to make connections. I used to be what I would call a seminar and workshop junkie. Go to, oh my goodness. Do you remember, Greg, do you remember Mr. T, the actor? Mr. T from like Rocky fame. He was he had all the gold chains.
He was on the A-Team.
Yes, yes. So he had that in personal life. He would walk around with just a ton of gold chains. I mean, almost weighed a ton. They were layers and layers and layers. And I would do this from stage when I speak at my events. I would bring up the lanyards from all the past events I'd been to, the name badges. And I'd say, I put Mr. T to shame, and I'd have someone bring them up, and I'd put them on. And I mean, they were thick as a rope when you put them one on top of the other.
I love it.
And so I literally did that. And there were many more that I didn't get to take home, right? They don't let you take them home all the time. And
right.
The point of that, though, is I just continued to show up. And I didn't just show up and then do nothing. I basically made connections and helped people. Like the people putting on the actual event, I'd stay to the very end. I'd be the last one there, last attendee, and ask them, hey, do you need help putting the chairs up? Anything you want. And not expecting anything in return. I learned this concept from a gentleman named Jabez Labret. And he coined the term as contribution leadership. Amazing. So look up Jabez Labret and find.
Write that down.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. First guy I learned it from, and I said, man, that's phenomenal. And many, many doors have opened as a result of that. Even knowing that doors will open, I still go about it without expecting anything in return. It's from the heart. And so show up. Just show up, but show up fully, completely, every day. When you get up, show up in your business to your clients like Greg does. Be there for them. Do it. Yeah, you got to do the work, right? You got to do it.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, being there and not going all in, it doesn't get it done.
Yeah, that's not operating at a peak level of performance. That's like having mind, body, or business, not achieving mastery in any one of them. And you're talking about every one of them. This learning. You can never stop learning. I mean, man, it wouldn't be much fun if we did, right? But learning. Here I was just talking to a couple of my apprentices last night, telling them that once you reach a certain level of achievement and experience, there's always another level above that. And the cool thing is when you're reaching for that one level that you haven't yet reached, and you're being exposed to concepts and ideas that would take you to the next one, you're not actually ready for them, so you don't actually see them. You're not even aware of them. It's pretty awesome. And so you go back, and if you read a same book a second time, you'll start noticing different things in that book. The book didn't change at all. You did, because of your experience.
I know, I love that.
Isn't that cool?
To me too.
Yeah. And so that's how life works, and that's how business works. That's how growth in entrepreneurship works, is you just keep going to the next level. I mean, Greg, tell me something. If you were to achieve ultimate success, the top pinnacle that you could ever achieve, it was defined, and you hit it, and there was no farther upward room to go, how would that feel to you? I mean, what would the rest of your life look like?
Whoo! Well,
I mean, would it be fun, or would it be like, well, there's nothing more to reach for, so I'm kind of bored now?
No, not bored. I do a lot of fishing. I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of playing guitar. I'd still be helping people, right?
Yeah.
It would be able to actually give me more time to give back. And if I may, I might squeeze this in here as far as giving back, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a part of the organization called G2 Cares, where we give we donate videos to charities and nonprofits. And so, whatever you're doing, if you have an event, if you want an ad, we're blessed and we want to give back. And so that would be one of the things to speak to your question, right? Is if all the rest was taken care of, we'd still keep learning, we still keep helping people, and that's one of the ways we would do it.
To the core. That is why I love Greg Goshorn, and why I love every guest that's been on this show. They're always service first. He has not once, that I can recall, made the focus of his discussion about money. Not once. It's all about helping and serving. And you see his face glow and light up when he talks about helping and serving more. And did you see him light up when he talked about his organization, G2 Cares? Look that up. I've seen you post about that. That's awesome, brother. I love that. And
yeah, we're trying to give back at least 50 videos, our give back goal for this year.
Oh man. So yeah, for those of you watching, if you have know of a charitable organization that could use some help in the video production area, we'll give you a way to contact Greg here at the end of the show. Or you can just look him up. It's pretty easy these days on the internet. And reach out to him and say, hey, man, I got a potential one of your 50. We can help you reach that goal for the year. So cool. That is amazing, dude. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're a driven guy. I can tell. I mean, not only do you have the success, obviously, look at this. For those of you listening and watching, do you think Greg could do that if he did not already achieve success? There's no way. He would be grinding for every last penny and not have anything left to give back. And so that's a true sign this gentleman has achieved at least a certain level of success that enables him to do that. Is that amazing or what? And so we already know he's a successful man, a successful entrepreneur, has a successful business. I was just curious, this kind of goes deep, but some people, some entrepreneurs, some would go to some pretty crazy lengths for success, maybe even to the point of doing crazy things, even breaking the law, right? We've seen people do that. And I know you're not that type, but how far are you, Greg, willing to go to succeed in a positive light? I mean, what would you do to become even more successful? How far would you go? What would that mean to you? What would that take?
Whew. What got me here? What's going to push me? Whatever it takes. I find myself these days, piling on. Doing the disciplines and getting the focus actually allows me to do more. And so, more time, more hours. I find that I not only do it in the morning, but in the evening, I'll do a daily review and actually think about the next day and plan it. So I think that's helping me to push farther, to be, getting up earlier, to be thinking about things, at night and in my sleep and my dreams. And so that's the stuff that's helping me, push to another level. That makes sense?
It makes perfect sense. I love it because everything you said, and I'm saying this to the audience, this is a man who is at cause. And what does that mean? That means he knows and he holds himself responsible for not only where he is today, but where he will be tomorrow. And he just said it in eloquent words with discipline and focus equals more time. So he knows if he is disciplined and he's focused, he will get more time to get more done. That's awesome. I love that. And then
not always easy.
No, yeah. And that's why there are very few percentage-wise entrepreneurs in the world that are still entrepreneurs, that are sustaining that. And doing the discipline, the evening reviews and planning the next day. Everything Greg was talking about is what he's doing to achieve and continue to succeed. It's not, he didn't say anything about anyone else doing anything or relying on employees or relying on the the stock market or anything outside of himself. He knows what he can control, and he focuses on that. There is another explosive, in a great way, key to success. Write this stuff down. I hope you're... Look, I'm the host of the show. I've got a lot going on, and I'm taking notes. So what's your, if you're not doing it, what's your excuse? So that's my little tip for you, Greg. When I put you on camera by yourself, that's when I get to do my note taking.
Okay, great.
Got the system down, so I don't want to be. I want to continue to give you my attention while I'm on camera. Like you said, show up, right? You're there. You're attentive. You're all in. Man, we're 4 minutes away. That's unbelievable. Okay, there's one question that I have to ask you because I've asked all previous guests the same exact question, and it's kind of a heavy hitter. It's a big one, and it's really cool, and I can't wait to find out what your take is on this question, what your answer is. And before we do that, I almost forgot. So for those of you watching live, be sure to take this information down, because what I'm going to do is show you a way that you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star Mexican resort. Compliments of my buddy at powertexting.com. That's Jason Nast and his partner Rhonda. Powertexting.com. Very phenomenal company. And what I want to do is give you the information on how you can enter right now. We'll put that on the screen. For those of you watching, you can see that now. If you're just listening, either podcast or later, you go to reachyourpeakllc.com/vacation. Again, that's reachyourpeakllc.com/vacation. Or if you find it simpler, just use your phone and you can text the word peak, that's P-E-A-K, to the number 661-535-1624. Hope you're writing this down because the screen's going away in a moment. Text the word peak to 661-535-1624. Go ahead and do that right now. If you go to a browser, just open a new tab. Keep the show going because you don't want to miss Greg's response to this heavy-hitting, all-important doozy of a question. And so now we brought Greg back. And
okay, I'm ready. What is this?
So there's a lot of build up to that. And what I wanted to do is kind of let you off the hook a little bit, because I do want you to really, I want it to be a genuine response. And you're a genuine guy. I'm not worried about that. But I just don't want there to be any hidden pressure to it. And so what I want to tell you is, to date, not a single person on this show has answered this question the same. Not one. There might be two that were similar, but they weren't the same. And the reason I say that is there is no wrong answer to this, Greg. There's none. In fact, just the opposite. The only correct answer is your answer. So now all the pressure's off. I want you to have that ability to just say, okay. And if it takes you a few moments to come up with your response, that's cool. Don't be worried about dead air time. It's not a big deal. I'm not paying for this airtime, so we're good. So are you ready?
I am.
All right. Greg Goshorn, how do you define success?
Ooh. Okay. That is a good one. I think in general, it's getting what you want. So it's different for different people. So for me, financial stability, which would free up my time and my energy to do the things I want. And it's a lot of the same stuff I think I talked about. Family, friends, travel, guitar, fishing, and giving back. So that would be it. I've always been, always said, you know, we're going to travel the world, play music, help people, and go fishing.
There you heard it. And for those of you that are astute listeners, what did you take from that? The key point, it usually is toward the end of the description of the person that is giving their view of success. And one of the last things you said was giving back and helping others. It always comes down to that every single time. It has some form of, I'm not just in this for me. Yes, you have to take care of me. Isn't it important? It's important to make money. Yes, Greg?
Indeed. Yeah. Right up there with oxygen.
So the thing is, with people like Greg, money is important, but it's not his absolute driving top priority. He will get the money because he's serving people. And to serve more people at a greater scale, it only makes sense that he must make more money so that he can then scale, bring in additional help, hire employees, bring on apprentices, upscale his technology. The list goes on and on. And so there's never, I want to make that distinction. Money is absolutely important for the success of an entrepreneur in their business. And the reason, though, you went through all the reasons. You went straight into the reasons, or time and energy, do the things I want. Family and friends, that's other people. Travel, that's a good one. You get to have your downtime. Guitar, hobby, giving back and helping others. That's where it ended, giving back and helping others. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. So so we have one more gift. Well, maybe several, but I wanted to give you the con, so to speak. And Greg has some wonderful gifts to give away. He wants to give you a smorgasbord, a little choice, a la carte, if you will. I love this. And I'll turn it over to you, Greg. I'll pull up the screen so you can tell me how to drive from that point forward. Let me bring up the proper, there we go. And I'm going to bring that over here. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you, Brian. Really appreciate this opportunity, and the opportunity to give to the audience, which is actually back to the way that we absolutely do business over here. We lead with value, we follow with education, and then we partner for success. And so, in leading with value, we have different things, and we know people are at different places, and they have different needs. And so, to get to the point, we're offering a free ad, a free video commercial, a free reputation audit, or a free social cover. And so, the site he's showing you here, folks, is called Convert Visitors into Cash. And so it's an offering of the suite of things that we can help people with. And if you get to that page, you could scroll down. He's showing you there where you could claim your video commercial. The traffic page is where you would get a free ad. There's places on here where we talk about the reputation audit here under the reputation side. There's a place for some social covers. Now, if that's confusing, send me an email directly to info@convert visitors into cash, and we'd love to chat with you. Reach out to me personally. I'll respond to everybody right away. Maybe you don't know what you want. We'd love to talk to you and see where you are and what would be the best fit for you, because there's a lot of solutions in the marketplace, but the only one that matters is the one that works for you.
I love that. Convert visitor. So it's convertvisitorsIntoCash.com. That's the website you can see right now. And his email is it info?
Info@, yes.
So info@convertvisitorsIntoCash.com. If somebody's on Facebook Live right now, go ahead and type that in for us. That would be awesome. ConvertVisitorsIntoCash.com and info@ConvertVisitorsIntoCash.com for the email.
Yeah, there's phone numbers, there's emails, everything's on the site. There's click-throughs if you find something you like, but take a look, talk to me. We're here to serve. We're here to help.
And look at everything they offer. I mean, this is like a one-stop shop for anyone who's looking to build what I call a platform for themselves in their business. And this is a digital platform. And today, isn't that the way it is, Greg? Most everything is done digitally anyway.
Well, it's a must, it's a must for everybody, and it's the only way for some.
Yeah, and I think it's the best way because you can literally run and conduct your business from anywhere if you're not beholden to brick and mortar, like if you're serving food or things like that. But if you're offering something that's digital, you can not only work from anywhere, but then you have people like you who can help them to get, create that platform no matter where they are in the world. And you can do that for brick and mortar as well. So I didn't want to.
Absolutely. That's one of the beauties and the blessings of what we do is and the ability to do it. And that's why I picked it.
And so real quick, what is the absolute, just give the best way for people to connect with you? Would it be email, your Facebook, Messenger? What's your favorite form of being connected with?
Well, I'm gonna say email because that's kind of my roots. Being a long-time guy in the industry, that's all we had, and frankly, it still works really great. And and plus, it has the website in it, so it's info@convertvisitorsIntocash.com.
Love it. And this is Greg Goshorn. He is the guy for G2 Internet Solutions, providing incredible value for everybody, not only for what he provides as a service for he and his company, but tonight on this show. I mean, that was phenomenal, Greg. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am. I know all the audience members are sitting there clapping. We can't hear them right now, but if they would clap a little louder, maybe we could. That would be nice. But
thank you, man. It's truly been a pleasure.
Appreciate you, my brother. Looking forward to do more things with you. And I will attest to the fact that, I want to say this real quick, that when Greg said he answers people and he answers them personally and quickly, I can personally attest to that. Like, this guy's a machine. I mean, if I send him a message on Facebook or however I interact with him, email, it doesn't matter. He's on it, and I've got an answer. I didn't even time it. It was so quick. So he's a product of the product. He walks the walk. I said it right that time. All right, Greg Goshorn, thank you so much. Everyone watching and listening, we appreciate you as well, and we will see you on the next edition of the Mind Body Business Show. We'll talk to you next time. Be blessed for now. Have a great evening.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.